Maple leaf mischief, eh? More like, oh, hey everybody, tonight we're diving headfirst into the Great White North's not-so-great behavior. Yeah, we're talking about Canada. Turns out our friendly neighbors to the north are throwing some serious shade at India. Now, you might be thinking, Canada? Isn't that where politeness was invented? And you wouldn't be wrong, they do apologize a lot. But lately, their government's been throwing more shade than a maple tree forest in October. We're talking political jabs, economic side-eyes, and enough diplomatic drama to make a Bollywood producer blush. Buckle up, folks, because things are about to get interesting. So grab a double-double and some poutine, because irony. And let's unpack why Canada's decided to pick on a country with a population roughly 100 times its own. Spoiler alert, it's about as sensible as a moose trying to fly. The politics of poutine, not as delicious as it sounds. Okay, let's talk politics. It's messy, it's complicated, and in this case, it involves a whole lot of pandering. See, Canada's got a sizable population of Sikh Canadians, some of whom support the Khalistan movement. Now, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of Khalistan later, but for now, just know it's a sensitive issue with India. And when I say sensitive, I mean touch it and risk an international incident kind of sensitive. So, what do some Canadian politicians do? They pander to these pro-Khalistan groups for votes. It's cynical, it's short-sighted, and it's making Canada look like that friend who stirs the pot just to see what happens. The result? Tense relations with India, a country with a rapidly growing economy and a whole lot of potential for trade. Way to go, Canada. You've managed to alienate a future superpower over some domestic political maneuvering. Loony troubles when your dollar acts like a loony. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the beaver in the igloo. Canada's economy isn't exactly setting the world on fire. In fact, it's been struggling for a while now. Housing is bonkers, inflation's doing its best impression of a runaway moose, and the Canadian dollar is, well, it's acting about as predictable as the weather in Winnipeg. So, what does any sensible country do when facing economic uncertainty? They try to strengthen ties with countries experiencing rapid economic growth, right? Not Canada. Instead, they're picking fights with India, a country with a booming tech sector, a burgeoning middle class, and a thirst for Canadian exports. Maple syrup, anyone? It's like trying to sell ice to an Eskimo who's already got a freezer full. Section 4, Khalistan and Canada, a not-so-secret love affair. All right, remember those pro-Khalistan groups we mentioned earlier? Let's unpack that a little, shall we? Khalistan is a separatist movement aiming to create an independent Sikh homeland in the Punjab region of India. Now, here's the thing. While many Sikh Canadians just want to live their lives in peace, some elements within these groups have been linked to extremism and even violence. And guess what? Canada's been turning a blind eye to it for years. They allow these extremist elements to operate with relative impunity, fundraising, organizing, and even glorifying past acts of terrorism. It's a slap in the face to India, a country that's been a victim of Khalistani terrorism for decades. Imagine if the tables were turned. Imagine if India allowed groups advocating for violence against Canada to operate freely within its borders. Not a pretty picture, is it? Section 5, Diplomatic Dustup, Curry versus Poutine, Round 2. So how has India responded to all of this? Well, they've tried the diplomatic route, expressing concerns, issuing warnings, and even trying to engage in dialogue. But Canada, it seems, wasn't really listening, and then things came to a head. In 2023, a prominent Sikh leader was assassinated in Canada. India accused Canada of not doing enough to protect him and of harboring Khalistani extremists. Tensions escalated, accusations flew, and diplomatic relations took a nosedive. This year, Canada made some serious accusations against India, and India understandably isn't having it. It's a full-blown diplomatic crisis, all because Canada can't seem to get its act together on the Khalistan issue. The result? Damaged relations, stalled trade talks, and a whole lot of distrust. Canada's looking more and more like the annoying neighbor who blasts loud music at 3 a.m. and then wonders why nobody wants to invite them to the barbecue. Section 6, Conclusion. So, why is Canada poking the bear? So, why is Canada doing this? It's a complex issue with no easy answers. But what's clear is that Canada's approach to India has been misguided at best and downright reckless at worst, whether it's pandering to extremist elements for votes, turning a blind eye to Khalistani extremism within its borders, or simply failing to grasp the economic and geopolitical realities of the 21st century, Canada needs to get its act together. Because right now, they're not just jeopardizing their relationship with one of the world's most important rising powers. They're also damaging their own international reputation and making the world a little bit more unstable in the process. And that, folks, is about as un-Canadian as it gets.